It's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Uh, I'm getting on a little bit late. Man, what we just did to the Toronto Raptors, man. I'm glad I took my time, watch the game all the way through, go back again, watch for some more details to see how things really transpired. This was a great game, but more than anything, it was a great team game. It was a great team game. And it's ironic. I feel like every time I complain about something about the Detroit Pistons, they just come back the very next game and just show me that they're working, that they're improving. And I think I posted a question about how do we feel about Cade Cunningham's heliocentric offensive style at times. And I'm not going to say he wasn't heliocentric in this game, but when his three ball is dropping, it looks a whole lot better. And when he only had to play 30 minutes, when he only has to play 30 minutes, it's going to look real different also, because that means that there was another significant portion of the game, almost half the game, where he's not really there having to put up points. And so everybody was participating. Everybody was stepping up. We had 34 bench points. We had 22 points by Paul Reed. Who saw that coming? There's so much to get into about this game. It should be a fun conversation. But as always, before we begin, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Remember, it's a small thing for you, but a big thing for the channel. All right, I appreciate all the love and support and those who come through. And definitely remember, if you can, hit that join button and become a member in 2026. But let me just start off with this. I did not see Paul Reed having this good of a game. I didn't. I don't think any of us did. If anybody did, if anybody was out here betting the over on Paul Reed scoring tonight, great job. Great job. Whatever it was, might have been 12 points. Who knows? Good job betting the over, because I didn't see it coming. When he hit that first three, that's when I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that's how you feel, B-ball. That's how you feel against Jakob, who's been a starter in the NBA since he was drafted. Jakob at the University of Utah, played with DeLon Wright, came into the NBA, and he was a starter from day one. So he's been around. He's a legit 7 foot with a solid wingspan, athleticism, mobility. It was not going to be an easy matchup. And yet, from the very beginning, B-ball Paul beat the matchup in every way. Whether it was scoring, whether it was rebounding, whether it was creating for himself, whether it was getting to the loose balls, deflections, blocks. I mean, let me just read the overall stat line for B-ball Paul. 22 points, 10 of 17 shooting. He started off really hot, but it wasn't hot as in, oh, he's just hitting a lot of jump shots. He was just scoring around the rim, jump hooks, layups, attacking off the dribble, second chance shots, dump offs, pick and roll, lobs. Like, he was just finding ways to score and contribute offensively. In that first quarter, I want to say he must have had, 12 plus points in the first quarter. It kind of set a tone. It was like, oh, I know y'all may not have a game plan for me, but watch this. Hold this real quick, right? Paul Reed completely set the tone for us in this game in a way that Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart should just be proud. Just sit there and just be like, that's my boy. That's my boy. Because the way he performed was everything that we needed in this game. It gave us that jump on the Toronto Raptors early that they never were able to really recover from. I think it was one of those, like, they looked around and was like, who the hell is this? And then before they knew it, they was down double digits and could just not climb out of that hole. And the reality is they really don't have a lot of offensive talent in that way, as we might like to think that they do. I think I'm not going to say I overestimated them, but I thought that their starters would have been a little bit more effective than they actually were. You know, Emmanuel quickly got going. RJ Barrett did his thing. Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes. But outside of those four, Grady Dick had a little bit, but it was inconsequential because in between their scoring was a bunch of turnovers, a bunch of missed shots, a bunch of bad possessions. and they just could not dig their way out of that hole. They just couldn't. And shout out to the Detroit Pistons who played with great energy, great energy. Everybody was engaged, everybody was involved. Nobody was just looking for someone else to, make the play. Everybody was looking to make plays. And it was just an overall great showing. It was a great showing for the Detroit Pistons. Somebody that I wanted to actually bring up, who I actually thought the Toronto Raptors should have went after. Where is he at? Well, it doesn't show him on here. Yeah, Cam Thomas. I thought the Toronto Raptors should have tried to sign a Cam Thomas to get somebody who can just put up buckets off the bench. Because as much as I like Jacoby Walter, I like Jamal Shed, even Grady Dick, none of those guys are as explosive a scorer. And, kind of looking at where Toronto was at, they need somebody that can go into the playoffs and be like, this guy can get us 15 to 20 points a game off the bench. Now, all that said, it may not have mattered because as good of defense as the Detroit Pistons were playing, everybody reaching in, digging in on the ball, helping, rotating. There was only maybe a handful of possessions where guys lost track of their man off ball because that's one of the things that we're still working on. That communicative piece, that being aware of our man and the ball as they relocate, make sure that we're tracking. But for the most part, for 90 something percent of this game, we were locked in. Everybody was on it, from Dennis Jenkins, even Karis LeVert, who got beat a few times, but still overall was really strong for us defensively. Was in the right place, digging in, getting his hands on a loose ball, getting to the deflected ball. Asar Thompson being as disruptive as hell. He had one of those stat lines where it's just like you may not think he had as much of an impact as he did, but then when you look at it and you say, "Oh, okay, yeah, he only had 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block, 3 offensive rebounds," but it just seemed like he was in the midst of everything. Everything going on, he just seemed to be right in the middle of it. Either he was the one blowing up the play, deflecting the ball, getting to the loose ball. Maybe he was the one who was boxing out the guy, knocking the ball away. At times, they just wisely were just like, we're not even going to attack Asar. We're just going to let, somebody else do it, which is smart because if I'm a coach scheming against a team, look, y'all, I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying it's just not effective for us to keep trying. It's not effective for pretty much any team to really be trying to score against Asar Thompson. And so his impact on the game, his presence in the game was felt. He was a plus 19 on the night. Duncan Robinson, D-Rob, Hawkeye himself, 13 points, 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 5 from three, 4 rebounds and assists, a steal and a block. Look, D-Rob continues to fight, and I respect him for it. Look, you're not known for being a great defender, but you know what? You're also showing that you're not going to be a pushover. You know what I'm saying? Like you might be the little bro, and people know that they could probably pick on you, but it's not going to be worth it because he's going to fight you. He's going to reach. He's going to bump. He's going to grab. He's going to do everything he can to continue to fight in this game, and that's what he continued to do. I'm 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 impressed. I'm impressed by what we were able to do. I appreciate the total team effort, especially with Stu and Duran out. It was something that we were going to need, was a total team effort. And that's what we brought. That's what we brought. Let me get to some of these comments in the chat. Um, Ethan Canon, yo, was good. It's good to see you in the chat. Leading Lions is good to see you in the chat. You said I love when he makes threes because it opens up the court. It sure does. But it congests if he's not on. He's one of the worst 3-point shooters on the team. I wouldn't say that. Hold on. Hold on now. Hold on. You saying Paul Reed is one of the worst 3-point shooting individuals on the team? Because last I checked, B-ball Paul was shooting. Let me pull it up. I like to have my stats here. I like to have my stats. Here we go. Loading. B-ball Paul is shooting 38% from the three-point line, bro. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? If B-ball Paul is one of the worst shooters on the team, great job. If our team is shooting that good, he's actually one of the better three-point shooters on the team. He doesn't take a lot because he really doesn't get a lot of minutes. But it's one of those things that, and this was the point I was making in that short video. I didn't get a chance to because somebody called me. It disrupted the sound and y'all couldn't hear all the points I was making. But I was saying B-ball Paul is making the case like, yo, keep me in the rotation. Why am I not in the rotation? Why am I not consistently getting playing time? Like, I don't care if it's ugly. Y'all remember Kevin Martin? Played with Sacramento Kings, Houston Rockets. He had a funky looking three-point shot too. Sean Marion did too. There's plenty of dudes who don't have the prettiest looking jump shot, but don't ask how, ask how many. And B-ball Paul saying, yo, quit tripping on how it looks, is going in 38%. Hold this real quick if you think I can't, if you think I won't. If you think I ain't going to make this shot, bruh, watch out. Sit down real quick. Peep this. And he put in the work. I mean, don't forget the touch he has on mid-range shots. That's also indicative of his three-point shooting ability. The touch he has on that jump hook over the left shoulder, hit a couple of them over Brandon Ingram and over Jacopoto. Yo, he is becoming an integral part of this team, similar to the way Dennis Jenkins did. Similar to the way Dennis Jenkins was carving out a role for himself that eventually helped to lead to the moving on from Jaden Ivey. Paul Reed is doing the same thing. Paul Reed is showing, yo, I've got offense on top of my defense and hustle and rebounding and shot blocking and getting out in transition, and I can create off the bounce. He is playing a game that's saying, yo, this can't be a third string guy. This cannot be a third string guy. If he's shooting 38% from the three-point line on a low volume, he needs to shoot more threes. He can play power forward alongside Isaiah Stewart and backup center. So now we got to start looking at, okay, Dennis Jenkins, invaluable. We need him. Okay. Ron Holland, we need him. Stu, we need him. The fourth guy off the bench, look, JB, I understand, Trajan Langdon signed Karis LeVert to a guaranteed deal, $14 million for 2 years, or 14 and 14, so $28 million total. It's going to look bad if he's not playing. I'm glad Karis LeVert wasn't playing 20-something minutes again. But Paul Reed needs to be in this lineup. And I don't know how you're going to do it. But Javonte, his defense alone makes him better than Karis LeVert. And it keeps sounding like I'm getting on Karis LeVert. I'm not. I'm just saying guys are playing better than him significantly. Yeah, I would love for Javonte Green to give me a little bit more in terms of attacking the rim, right? Because sometimes I feel like he's settling for the three. I know we got to have a guy who can be a designated shooter, but we need someone who can also get to the rim, especially off the swing. Like if it's not a wide open three, shoot, I want Javonte to hit the wide open three, but I also want Javonte to get to the rim when it's not wide open or just swing it. Don't necessarily force up bad threes. All this to say is Paul Reed needs to be in this rotation. He needs to be in the rotation no matter what. If you ask me, it would be Dennis, Javonte, Ron Holland, Paul Reed, Isaiah Stewart. Even if can't nobody score, the other team ain't scoring against that. I guarantee you, you roll out a bench lineup of Dennis Jenkins, Javonte Green, Ron Holland, Paul Reed, Isaiah Stewart. Yo, I'm getting hyped about that bench unit. That bench unit is going to be one of the best defensive bench units in the NBA. Forget what you heard. I don't care. That bench unit ain't nobody scoring. Nobody scoring. Why was our defense able to turn off the water of the Toronto Raptors in that third quarter? Why were we able to make sure that they couldn't buy a bucket? They couldn't see nothing? Because when you have your best defenders on the court at the same time, you're going to get great results. You're going to get great results. Dennis Jenkins, Paul Reed, Javonte Green, those guys playing Asar Thompson with Cade, Tobias. When you get those guys out there, you're going to get the runouts. You're going to get the transition opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, y'all have the opportunity to smash the like button for me. Y'all got 40 people in this chat and only 11 likes. Come on, remember, it's a small thing for you, but a big thing for the channel. Just hit that like button real quick. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications as well. And don't forget, become a member in 2026. It's a dope space and community, y'all. Appreciate all y'all. Let me get to some of these chat points here. Some of the chats. Calm guys, good to see you in the chat. Salute, salute. Classic 76. Salute. Asar is becoming the ultimate disruptor. Yep. And his ball handling is improving. He looks more decisive. Yep. We just need him to get into playing those ones against Javonte and them so he can get more comfortable creating for himself. Let me see. Classic 76. 40 wins by All-Star break is wild. It really is. For a team that had 14 wins 2 years ago. Yep. Big talk. And 44 last year, right? Let me see. Richard, yo, it's good to see you in the chat. One of the worst looking shots, that's all. Yeah, no, it ain't got to look pretty. Paul Reed is knocking down his shots. It looks good. Calm guy, yo, salute. I think we found our future four with B-Ball Paul. Bro. And he's young. He's a young man. Get back. Paul Reed is only... Pull it up right now. It's lagging a little bit. How old is Paul Reed? Let me know in the chat. How old is Paul Reed? I think he's only like, 25, 26 years old? Oh, yeah, let's keep him around. Bobby Clinton, we give him some more time to get himself locked in. You know what I mean? Low budget gamer, appreciate the super chat. Appreciate that super chat. Salute. Yes, definitely hit the like button and subscribe. Yo, real talk. It's a dope community. Tara G's 26. See, I appreciate my chat. Y'all working with me. Knicks just got Sohan. Maybe we beat them by only 25 on Thursday. Oh, they just got Jeremy Sohan? He said Jeremy Sohan? That's crazy. William Hersgod, yo, what's good? It's good to see you in the chat. One of my members, Attila the Hun, Detroit, Antonio McDyess 2.0. You know what I'm saying? McDyess was a little bit, I mean, come on now. I'm not going completely. McDyess was an animal, bro. Was an animal. Oh, Jeremy Sohan was cut. Hour ago, they got him. That's a great pickup for New York. You know why? Because New York, they don't have athletes at that wing position. They don't have great athletes. Expect Jeremy Sohan to be a primary guy to be utilized on Cade Cunningham in the playoffs. Do you think this type of play translates to the playoffs? I definitely do. Defense always translates. It's one of the most transferable aspects of a team, along with rebounding and things like that. Because shots are not going to drop as the other teams prepare a little bit more. You're facing better talent. It's going to be tougher for you to be able to score. So you can't always rely upon great offense. Well, I would say elite offense, like top 5 offenses are going to look good in the playoffs. But outside of that, it's going to somewhat struggle. Defense translates in a major way in the playoffs, in a major way. Let me see. Maddox, salute. Says 29 games left. Lock up that 1 seed. We got to win at least 15 to 18 games more. You know what? At this point, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not about how many wins. It's how we're playing going into the playoffs at this point. We're going to get to 50. You know what I mean? But it's how we get to 50. We want to make sure that we get to 50 in a way where we are prepared to play against the best teams. The best teams. That's the mindset that we have to be in. How are we going to prepare to beat the best teams? That's where we have to iron out our offense. We've got to get more efficient on offense. We have to make sure that we have guys contributing consistently off that bench. We got to get our rotation down. Is Kevin Huerter going to be in the rotation coming into the playoffs. Is Karis LeVert going to be in the rotation? Because if I'm honest with you, when we've got K, Duncan Robinson, Asar, Tobias, Duran, and then we've got Stu, we've got B-Ball Paul, we got Javonte Green, we got Dennis Jenkins, we got Ron Holland. I mean, it's hard for me to say Karis LeVert needs to be in that rotation. I know we want the playmaking, but sometimes his playmaking just looks like the ball sticking in his hands. It just does. I know he's one of our better three-point shooters at times, but sometimes he's just a guy who looks like he's trying to find his rhythm, like he's trying to get himself going. But I think that we solidify a lot of this by the time that we get to the playoffs. He's shooting 34% from the three-point line, shot 34% last year, 33.8. So 34% last year. Then he shot 40, 37, but then he shot 32. So he's a up and down three-point shooter throughout his career, only shooting 34% for his career. So this is just about who Karis LeVert is. I don't know if he ever becomes more than this. And he's how old? Karis LeVert is 36. Oh, I'm sorry, 31 years old. I don't think Karis LeVert is going to get better than this. This is his peak. This is his prime. This is it. Yeah, Brian Smith, you're right. JB won't come up off him. And I think that a part of it is not just JB, it's also what's his name? Trajan Langdon. It's Trajan Langdon. No, he's not. My bad, low budget gamer. He isn't 36. He's only 31. He's 31. But in basketball terms, he might as well be 36. All right, because you're athletically, you've already peaked. Your peak athleticism was 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. By the time you hit 31, you got too many miles, right? Especially if somebody like him who's had so many injuries throughout his career. So if I'm honest with you, post All-Star break, there's going to have to be some changes. But I am kind of curious what's going on with Ron Holland. Missing 2 games for personal reasons. I hope everything is okay. Sometimes it's real shit. Sometimes it's like, people pass away. You're dealing with some real family shit. People get sick and stuff like that. Remember Bobby Portis last year, his grandmother passed away, right? And she was a primary person in his life. And so, whenever we see personal reasons, just prayers up for him, hoping that he gets back when he's ready, and that he's able to get through whatever he has going on. Because remember, these are all human beings. They're not robots. They got real shit going on. See, Ray Floyd asked, yo, what's good? Salute, Ray. One of my members here says, who's the starting two of the future? You know what? I would say this. The starting shooting guard of the future for us is more than likely Ron Holland. If I'm honest with you. If I'm completely honest. Ron Holland, I think he improves his three-point shooting enough. I told y'all he would. He's got a smooth-looking jump shot. Good form, decent form. But I think over the course of time, it's going to iron out and get better and better and better. I think he's going to get up to, by the time that he's getting extended, he's going to be over 30-something%. He's going to get to that league average mark. But the big thing about Ron Holland is going to be his defense on the perimeter, his ability to get out in transition, get on the boards. He's going to be able to score from the mid-range and at the rim at a high level. And as he gets stronger, as he gets more comfortable in his game, expect after the All-Star break and into next year, he's going to start showing more of an offensive package that I think was indicative of what we saw with Jalen Duren begin to expand his game. And then you begin to see other players just in that third year. That's when you see that jump because they figured out what the team needs for them to be an effective part of the team structure. You see them get it down pat in year 2, the sophomore year, which is his current year. And then that third year, you start seeing, okay, now that you've gotten what we need you to get down to just get playing time, to be a part of winning, Now, how can you add to this team in a major way? How can we maximize what you potentially have to give? And then in year 3, you begin to see that explored. In year 4, you begin to see that solidified. In year 5 is the jump off. Year 5 is like who you are in year 5. This is what I've heard many times, and I would say that I somewhat agree with it. Year 5, this is who you are. This is who you are. You've gotten your extension. Year 5, I think that is when he explodes into an all-star, and we start talking about Jaylen Brown comparisons and things like that, Jimmy Butler comparisons, etc. But I can see Ron Holland for sure as our future shooting guard of this team. All right. Our next game. Who do we got next? Let me know in the chat. Marvin, yo, what's good? What's good? It's good to see you in the chat. Salute, Billups, salute. Tiller the Hun, salute, salute, salute. Yo, let me just say this. Moving on from Jaden Ivey has freed us up to really invest in Ron Holland. Oh, we got the Knicks coming up. Okay, I'm not worried about that game. At this point, I'm telling you, at this point, we got them after. Oh, that's right, because we're going into the All-Star break. Let me see. So the All-Star break is this weekend. I've been traveling, y'all, so I'm behind on a lot of. We got All-Star break this weekend, and then we have our first game. We don't play for another week. When do we face the Knicks next? Somebody look that up for me in the chat. Thursday. Okay, so we got a whole week. They got a whole week off, bro. We got a whole week off. We have a whole week off. I'll still be going live because there's so much to talk about. Remember, The Rock never stops. There's so much to talk about when it comes to this game. There's so much. I'm interested to see what happens. All-Star break. You're gonna have a healthy, springy Jalen Duren. Cade should be excited, ready to go. And then we're gonna have a team that's rested. I love that B-Ball Paul is getting extended minutes. He's gonna get extended minutes against the Knicks. We're gonna get to see a really mobile Paul Reed playing against Karl Anthony Towns if Towns plays. And I'm excited about that. Tolu Smith. And this is something I wanted to talk about, actually. Tolu Smith, this is his official, like, you got to show us something, Tolu. And it may seem hard to say. Tolu Smith has really got to show us something over this stretch. Isaiah Stewart is out 6 more games. Tolu Smith, you are going to be in the rotation, set in the rotation. You got to show us something. I need to see better finishing around the rim. I need to see you start having games that makes us do a double take and look at you twice like Paul Reed. And you've got to show up and say, I belong in the NBA. You're not going to get a lot of chances to do that. You're 25 years old. This is it. This is it. B-Ball Paul's not giving up his minutes or his role. When Stu gets back, we know what he is. When Duren gets back, we know what he is. Tolu, you've got to come and hoop. Not just do the bare minimum, not just play it safe, not just make sure you don't mess up. No, I need to see a double-digit scoring game. I need to see every time you get extended minutes, you're almost double-digit rebounds. I need to see you impact and put an imprint on the game. Because the draft is going to come around. And after the draft, you're also going to have free agency. Could we use some more size on the interior? Hell yes. Could we use somebody who's a legit 7 feet with a long wingspan who can block shots? Hell yes. We need to see it. We need to see it. Right now, you're on a two-way, bro. You're going to have a Dennis Jenkins breakout. This is your moment. You got 6 more games to show it. Use the All-Star break to just refine your bag. This is it. Bobby Clement, you're not too far behind. You probably got 1 more year because you're young. Still, you know what I mean? You got a lot of skill. All right. But you can't take these moments and minutes for granted because you never know when a team can just get an upgrade and say, this dude is just a better option for us. Happens all the time. That's just the reality. So shout out to the Detroit Pistons taking care of the Toronto Raptors. We got the New York Knicks next. Got the All-Star break this weekend. Duran and Cade doing their thing. No, Bobby Clement's young. He's only 22 years old. He's been in the league 2 years. That's still young. 25, though, for Tolu Smith. That's different. Chaz Zanir at 24. That's different. Marcus Sasser at 25, right? B-Ball Paul's 26. These guys, the league is looking at, this is who you are. Somewhat fixed. At this point, a guy like Tolu Smith has got to put up or shut up. You got to use these next 6 games to ball the freak out. Marvin Tolbert, man, Devin Booker ain't coming. Phoenix is doing their thing. They're winning. They're happy. He's home. It's okay. We don't need that contract. We got it. We're good. We're the number 1 seed in the East. We don't need to go out and get a $50, $60, $70 million a year contract. Sorry. We're good. With that said, yo, as always, you know what? My word of the day is stay the course. One of the hardest things to do is to be still in the midst of troubles or in the midst of celebration in life. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to just take a deep breath, remind yourself that you're okay, and stay the course. Stay focused on your goal, right? I love Rico Hines. He has this slogan for his runs. Says no, I think it's like know your game or like know your vision of like what it means for you to grow, right? It's like know your something. I forget how he puts it, but it's like know what you're here for and go for it, execute. In all of our lives, we always gonna have shit going on. Know what your aim for your life is and stay the course. The ups and the downs are gonna come. It's par for the course, right? Just like the course of the Detroit Pistons, right? Injuries are gonna happen, down seasons are gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Know what we're trying to accomplish. Know what you are trying to accomplish in your life and stay the course. Don't get dissuaded by a hard week, hard month. Sometimes those are the very things that are changing you and growing you and helping you to get to becoming the person you need to be. Stay the course, continue to lock in and do you, and have an amazing, amazing life. As always, love deeply, laugh hard, live your life to the fullest because you only got one and everyone else's is already taken. I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.